This is my Surly Fat Bike, and it's amazing, but it wasn't always that great. Stick around to see how I brought this old fat bike into the new era. So this old Pugsley is from around 2006. Being the first production fat bike ever, I have to say they did a pretty good job. This bike was built to almost the highest spec for the time. It features 18 speeds of fine Shimano XT goodness, top-of-the-line Avid BB7 mechanical disc brakes, an ultra-low-range 2x crankset with an ISIS-style bottom bracket, which was a source of trouble later on, and a classic 90s mountain bike cockpit complete with an outrageously long stem and narrow handlebars. These parts are mostly fine and could go on for many more years, but I wanted something a bit more modern while still staying affordable. The original bottom bracket on this bike was horribly crunchy and needed replacing. However, this was the discontinued ISIS standard, so replacing the bottom bracket meant I needed to replace the crankset too. And you can imagine what happened next. I threw the parts cannon at it. Sorry. Not sorry. Practically all the modern fat bike cranksets are designed to be run as a 1x. I found a Raceface Ride crankset that was advertised to work with the 135 offset that the Surly Pugsley has. These old Pugsleys were so obscure, and I wasn't sure if the modern crankset would work. The first time I installed the crankset, it was too wide for the bottom bracket. Luckily, I had an extra spacer in the parts bin, and it fixed the issue. With the bottom bracket and crankset installed, it was time to replace the drivetrain. Or so I thought. Initially, the chain line was too wide, but by flipping the chainring, the chain line was made narrower, and it's close enough now. While the original 18-speed Shimano XT drivetrain worked just fine, the lack of a clutch made running it as a 1x a no-go, especially for all the sweet jumps I do. I chose the Microshift Advent drivetrain because it has all the features of a modern mountain bike drivetrain while staying relatively cheap. To finish off the build, I installed Ahearn Uprising handlebars. They're pretty ridiculous, but they fit the fun, not-so-serious character of the Surly Pugsley. And with that, the build is complete. I'm super happy with how this old Pugsley turned out. As I mentioned earlier, the Pugsley was the first production fat bike. It's amazing how solid this bike is, even compared to the modern fat bikes. The combination of the wide and comfortable Ahearn Uprising handlebars and the Microshift Advent 1x9 drivetrain have transformed the Pugsley into the fun, comfortable, and playful fat bike of my dreams. Thanks for watching. I hope this video inspired you to have a little fun and ride your bike a little less seriously.